It's starting. Oh, let's see here. There we go. Okay. So today, I want to be talking about something that I think is very important to talk about, and something that I think most people don't really talk about enough. And that is the idea that our purpose, like finding our purpose, finding our passion, finding our unique genius in this life, is never going to fulfill us. Okay? Because I feel like in the spirituality, the self-help, the self-improvement path, there is a massive narrative that if you're feeling unsatisfied in your life, if you're feeling like you're not fulfilled, if you're feeling like you're not satisfied, if you're feeling like you're not good enough, if you're feeling like your life isn't good enough, if you're feeling like you're not on track and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, that the reason for that is because you're not living your purpose. You're not living your passion. You're not finding your unique genius and sharing that with the world. And once you find that special thing, once you find that thing that you are here to do, once you find your special talent, once you find that thing that I say, like that unique gift that you have to offer the world that no one else has, and you start doing that, you're going to feel on top of the world. You're going to feel totally fulfilled. Your life is going to come all together. You're going to feel complete. You're going to feel whole. You're going to feel exactly all the things that you want to feel. And all this existential dread and anxiety and feeling like you're not good enough will finally go away. And then, along with that, of course, right, you're going to become a super high level productive member of society. You're going to be offering that thing to the world or to your community or to your family or to whoever, that thing that you have to offer, right? You are going to be serving your purpose. You are going to be doing the things you're supposed to be doing. And then you're going to get consensus reality approval, right? Because we're often told that once we find our purpose and once we find our passion, we're also going to find our people. We're going to find the people that resonate with us. We're going to find the people that understand us. We're going to find our community. And we're going to find financial abundance. We're going to find financial success, either directly or indirectly through living our purpose and our passion. And this will probably lead to, you being able to live where you want to live, and maybe you'll find your dream partner, or all of these magical things are going to happen when you find and align with your purpose in life, right? And what we kind of have to understand is that before I get into this, of course, I want to make it clear that when you feel like the work that you're doing in the world, the thing that you're offering, the thing that you're like filling your days or your weeks with, feels like a thing that matters to you, feels like something you're good at, feels like something you are living your life on purpose about, definitely feels good, okay? So I don't want to minimize the idea of finding purpose and value in your work. And I've talked about this before, that even if we do something that society might deem as like menial work, like being a waitress or a janitor or a maintenance person, or right, something that society doesn't say like, oh wow, like that's like a meaningful career, that we can still find purpose and value and meaning in our engaging in that, and that can add fulfillment to our lives for sure. That I've talked before about, rather than looking for what is my purpose and what am I here to do, what am I supposed to be doing, looking for how can I infuse purpose, how can I infuse meaning, how can I infuse there is importance to this because I'm doing it and I'm here and this is a moment in my life and I'm going to be present for it, in the moments that we have, whatever they are, however society judges or labels them. Again, that is an absolutely wonderful, beautiful thing to do. And I do believe that that will make a lot of us feel better in what we're already doing. That we will help ourselves to diminish the idea that there are ways of living and ways of being that we can be and that we are that just aren't important and that don't mean anything and we're just wasting our lives, versus, like I say, showing up in each moment and infusing purpose into it, being there, showing up, seeing what you can bring to it, seeing what you can get out of it, and living a life where you're consciously choosing to have purpose in your life. Okay, so I'm not saying that it's not important. I'm not saying that it's not true that when you find that thing that you're really good at, that it's going to feel good, because that's absolutely true. When you find that thing in life, if you are one of these people who have a thing like that in life, that your career, your work, what you can monetize matches something you're actually passionate and purpose-filled around, that's great. Again, I'm not telling you that that's not a great experience, and I'm not going to say that that's not valuable and that that can't make us feel good. What I am saying, okay, is that what I believe has happened is we have overinflated and overemphasized and gone way off the rails in how much we have placed value and importance and meaning on a vocation, right? That thing that you do in the world that stimulates the economy. And that about you is the most important thing about you. Like in Western culture especially, we ask each other, like, what do you do? Basically right after we ask, what is your name? Like, hello, I'm this, my name is this, and I do this. And our culture tends to highly praise and highly value and highly emphasize the importance of career and what you contribute to the society and to the economy. And we know that we have a hierarchy, right, in our economy of things that we deem valuable, things that we deem less valuable, and we monetize those things accordingly. And we also dole out respect and accolade and value as a person onto people who hold positions that are valued in society as this is an important job. And we place less value and less importance on people who hold careers, who do jobs that are less valuable, right? They literally get paid less. They have less access in society. They have less opportunity. They are less respected. We don't have equal distribution of rights or freedoms or anything, right? Instead, we have an absolute hierarchy based on career, productivity, what you offer to the culture and what the culture judges from you, right? And then we've taken that into the spirituality world and we've put a little fairy dust on it and some sparkles and said, it's not capitalism, right? It's not, oh, no. It's not that we're like capitalists who say survival of the fittest, survival of the fittest. And we only value these people and we are only going to monetize these people and these people are the bottom of society and we don't really care about them. We're not going to think of it that way. We're not going to look at it like that. We're going to look at it like, no. Like living your purpose is a spiritual thing. Living your purpose is a spiritual act. But what we mean by living your purpose is finding that job, finding that career, finding that thing you can monetize, that you're passionate about, and that's doing good in the world because that's how we make it spiritual, right? Like we have to rejigger whatever it is that we're doing to say, okay, well, I have to find my purpose and my passion, and it has to be something that's quote unquote good for the world. And once I'm doing that, I should be making lots of money. I should be rolling with the people who all resonate with me and are high vibes and whatever. And I should be helping the world. And that's spiritual. And if I'm not doing that, if I'm not making lots of money, if I'm not in abundance, if I'm not working at something that is just like lights me up inside, if I'm not an entrepreneur, if I'm not creating my own business, if I'm not working for someone who's super on fire about whatever they're doing, I'm failing. I'm not being spiritual. I'm not living my spiritual life, right? I must be failing spiritually. I must be failing on a personal growth level. And we don't see that this capitalist, we're only going to value human beings based on what they do within our economy. Because I don't think I emphasize that enough, right? Because yes, we value certain jobs above other jobs, and we value the people who do those jobs above other people who do other jobs. And the way that we value those people is with access, resources, money, right? Privileges. And the people who aren't in these respected categories don't get those things and or are antagonized by the system, are literally made, their lives are made harder. Their privileges are, they not only do they not have access, they're cut off from things, they're antagonized, they're less opportunity, even the opportunities they get are not the same level, all of these things. And if we really take a step back and we look at the people we're valuing, we look at the people we're saying, okay, you get all the access, you get all the resources, you get all the whatever. It's not the people who are offering the most to society. It's not even like a logical, reasonable, I can see how we got here because these people really give something to the society that everyone else doesn't. Like for the most part, the high level earners, the high level privilege, the high level access people of our society are shareholders and CEOs and people who aren't doing really anything for society and in many ways can be even harming society, right? Like, of course we have like doctors and nurses and, well, I guess not nurses, but doctors. We have lawyers that we highly value because we like to fight. You can see entertainers. We love to pay our actresses and our actors and our sports people millions of dollars a year to entertain us and distract us. And we love to pay our companies, CEOs, billions of, like usually we're not choosing that, but billions of dollars a year to make money for their shareholders. And then, like I say, the waitress and the teachers and the nurses and the maintenance people who actually run society, who if these people quit their jobs, we would have a big problem, right? If CEOs quit their jobs, if shareholders quit their jobs, if entertainers quit their jobs, okay, it might be a little chaotic for a minute or two, but like we'd adjust, right? If all the teachers quit, if all the nurses quit, if all the maintenance people quit, we'd have a huge problem, okay? And yet, we don't monetarily value those people. We don't give the value to the people who actually are running our society. You see what I'm saying? So in the secular world, we can see the monetary system that we have, the way that we have placed our hierarchy of who is important and who isn't, and who gets resources and who doesn't, and who gets privileges and access and who doesn't. It's totally messed up. It's not even, and it's not even based on value. It's not based on what you give to the culture. It's not based on any of these things. It's purely these systems that were put in place, like basically from the founding of the Western world, and that are based upon lots of different problems that are big problems. And so we have that in the secular world. And then we want to go all spiritual and say we're not a part of that, and say we're not a part of capitalism, and say that we don't like it and all these things. And yet, we then continue to put ourselves in these boxes of, okay, but I got to find my purpose, I got to find my passion, I got to find that thing that I contribute to the world that makes me a lot of money and finds me my people so that I can be happy. And we think it's different, and we're saying it's different. Like, it's not capitalism, it's not consumerism, because I'm looking for my purpose. I'm looking for my highest expression. I'm looking for the abundance of the universe that the abundant universe wants to abundantly give me. I'm looking for my people so that we can change the world and all of these things. And all I would say about that is, okay, I get it, right? I get why we get there. I get how we get there. I've been there. And it can feel really true, and it can feel like it's a spiritual thing, and we can make it sound like, well, not like it's not capitalism. It's not that. It's spiritual work. It's spiritual fulfillment. It's me living my potential. It's me actualizing myself. I just have to find the career that I'm here to do, and when I do that, I'll make all this money, and then I can use that money for good. And then, right, more of the good people have the money, and then I'm living my purpose, and I have my group of people, and we're changing the world with all of our money. Right? Like, are we getting this? Yeah? It's literally the same system with just different words and a different costume. And most of us can look out at the world and look at the secular world, at least, and see that most people who are living their lives for their career, who are giving everything they got to their career, whatever career that is, they're not satisfied and they're not fulfilled. No one is satisfied and fulfilled in their careers. And again, this is very interesting to look at. If we look at our like billionaires and our millionaires, what's the most common thing we see with billionaires and millionaires? Scandal in their personal life. Like really, really shady shit going on behind the scenes. Sex trafficking, affairs, drugs, illegal things, money laundering, like making just wild, radical, crazy choices. Why do we think that's happening? Why is it that when people get to these high levels of fame and high levels of success, they don't feel good? They don't feel better, right? Because even when we look at artists, any kind of artist who gets really big and gets really famous, what's usually the next thing that happens? The huge fall, right? The drugs, the alcohol, the sexual stuff, the eating disorders, the self-destruction, and then their lives end tragically usually. Like it's becoming a cliche at this point. And we're like, they had to have been living their purpose. Like, look at them. They were like so gifted. They were so in their art. They were so doing that thing that they're absolutely like primed to do. They were gifted, they were talented, and they went for it. And then what happened? It destroyed them. Why? The CEOs, the people who are at the top of society, who have absolutely everything. Why? Why do they need to go and commit horrible sexual acts? Why do they need to go and do illegal things? Why do they need to take these huge risks? Right? Like we look at people who are in poverty and we can understand, like, okay, yeah, like a lot of the time when you're in poverty, you get into crime because it's the only way you see to survive the thing that you're in. It's the only way you see to keep having Okay, so someone says they don't have an authentic foundation. I would just say again, let's just hold up on that just 1 sec, right? Because even if they have an authentic foundation, because again, I think a lot of the time, especially artists, have an absolutely authentic foundation. Like they start from a place of pure, innocent, I am this thing, this is my gift, I'm just stepping into it. Like when you look at like childhood videos of celebrities before they were famous, you can see that that foundation was absolutely pure, and that foundation was absolutely beautiful, and they started from an absolutely great place. So what happened, right? It wasn't the foundation. The foundation was fine. It's what happened after that. You see? So we're looking at this and we're saying, what is it that makes it so that when people reach this certain level of success in our culture, even when they're living their absolute purpose, even when they're having absolute abundance and access and privilege and have absolutely everything, right? Like when you think about Jeff Bezos and just the sheer amount of money he has, it's mind-boggling that one person can hold that much capital and refuse to do things that would actually serve the world, right? Like he has so much money that he couldn't spend even a fraction of that amount of money on himself. And so she says, something compromised their beliefs. Nothing compromised their beliefs. Their beliefs are probably still very the same. I think a lot of the time we see ourselves as holding values and holding these things and believing in goodness and believing in all of these. Like I think we all have pure hearts at the end. In the end, we all have pure hearts. So again, what is it that makes it so that we get thrown off track? Because I don't believe that any of these people are like evil or change their beliefs. They don't change their beliefs. What happens? Okay? Again, let's just hold on for a sec. We're looking and we're seeing like Jeff Bezos like has, so what is the point, right? There has to be fear behind that. The only reason you would hoard that much money and not do something to save the world, is he a sociopath? And again, I don't really like the label of sociopath, or I don't really like the label of these things, because I feel like if we really study our culture and what our culture does to our psychology, it's not that these people are born this way, right? Like we keep trying to blame the individual, and that's what I'm trying to get at today. We keep looking for what is wrong with him. Why did he do that? Like we're looking at these individual cases. And I feel like that's our mistake. That's why we're not getting it. Because it's the system. The system is destroying the person. The people are the result of what happens when you play by this game. It's not that he's a sociopath. It's not that they are messed up. It's not that there is some fundamental flaw in them that made them this way. No. This is what happens when you play this game. This is what becomes of you. The pure-hearted, pure-intentioned, you had good foundations. People get eaten by the system. In order to succeed within the system, you will be destroyed. This is the point. We have to stop looking for what's wrong with Jeff Bezos, what's wrong with Bill Gates, what's wrong with the politicians. They're playing along to a game that in order to win, you have to lose. Do you understand what I'm saying? We live in a culture right now where you either participate in a thing and you have monetary, societal success at the expense of your humanity and at the expense of our environment, at the expense of humanity in general, Or you choose to opt out. Okay, what? Or you attempt to have success within the system. You do your best, you try your hardest, you give your thing, and you will never have access or wealth or privilege. Because you are simply already not a thing we value. You are simply already not a thing. You are never going to be the thing. You are never going to have the right things in order to be valued in our society. And again, remember, in order for the people at the top to remain at the top the way they are at the top, it necessitates that a whole bunch of people are down here not having enough. Okay, our capitalist structure is a pyramid scheme. The top people require the masses not having enough. So you either play at that system and hope that you're up here, because if you're down here, it's not going to work. And then remember, right, the media and culture and all these things like to celebrate the people who started down here and then got up here. Because they want to tell you that it's possible for everyone. Everyone and everything could just have success and could have enough and could have all these things within our system if you just work hard enough, if you just increase your market value, if you just do whatever. Okay, not reality. Clearly not reality. And yet, it's the thing we use to keep the system going. And who tells you that? Who are the people that tell you that the most? Those stories are so extremely rare. Exactly. That's exactly it. That's the survivalist fallacy. Those stories are completely rare because they are the exception to the rule. They are not the rule. The rule is, if you're already at the top, you were probably born into the top. If you fought your way from the bottom to the top, you are a rare exception. And going out and telling other people that everyone can do that and everyone can just do what you did is a lie. It may have worked for you, but that does not mean it's going to work for everybody because of the inherent structure of the system. It's not possible. If everyone were at the top, our system would collapse. These people only exist up here because of these people. Okay, so we have this pyramid scheme where we all play in the pyramid scheme, thinking if you're at the bottom, you can work your way up. We keep getting told that, and if you're not, you're lazy, you're not trying hard enough, you're not valuable, you're not doing what you should be doing, you're not. And then does that sound like the spirituality world that tells you you're not living your purpose, you're not fulfilling your passion, you aren't being enough, and once you are, and once you do those things, you will become abundant in all of these things? So now it's starting to sound the same. Now we're really starting to be like, oh, okay, yeah, you take the sparkle off of it, it's actually just the capitalist society spewing lies. Okay, so you either try and play that game, or your other option is to try to check out of that, to see that that's shit, to decide you don't want to do that. And most of the time, like, guarantee you're going to be ostracized. People aren't going to understand you. You're not going to find your people. You're not going to be understood. You're going to be judged because you're not playing along. Because here's the thing. In order for the game to work, we all have to play. In order for that value system that is completely not value, we all have to play. So when we don't value brand names, when we don't value looking how we're supposed to look, when we opt out of having the expensive cars or the whatever the trend is, right? Even when we opt out of like, look at my trendy eco-friendly wardrobe. I'm going to unbox my supplements. I'm going to unbox my healthy vegan skincare line. When we're no longer participating in consumerism as our main form of identity, when we're no longer out there being like, I found my purpose, I found my passion, and look at all the abundance it got me. I'm living my purpose as an abundance coach. I'm living my purpose as a sex coach. I'm living my purpose as a whatever, whatever. And look, all of this money, all of this family, all of this happened to me when you're not that. Does anyone give a shit about you? People usually want more and better. Exactly. But when you actually try to check out of that system, what you'll find is what you actually have to do is downsize, become less glamorous, you buy less things, you have less new things, you start to have a life that's not constant productivity, so something to constantly show for yourself. You start to have a life that isn't Instagrammable, because you're not always doing a whole bunch of stuff. You're not out there living. You're getting your life 24/7. You're resting. You're spending time doing nothing. You're mostly having mundane experiences. So, like, at best, you lose consensus reality approval. At best, you lose approval within your spiritual circles. Because even the spiritual people, they don't want to hear, what did you do today? I took a nap. I did some crocheting. I went for a walk and got groceries. And that was my spiritual day. That was my being connected to my purpose today. They're like, great, okay, so you took a rest so you can like power up and do your purpose tomorrow. You see? At best, that's what happens. At worst, you can't make money. You can't survive. Because you're already so low on the totem pole, you don't have the capacity or the privilege or the access of trying to check out of the system, of trying to do less, of trying to work less jobs, of trying to whatever. Because everything that you're doing right now to just survive within the system is barely keeping you alive, or barely, like literally almost not even doing that. That's the reality. Do you understand? Our system is set up so that when you actually start to live a spiritual life, no one gets it. No one thinks that's a spiritual life. Because it's not consumerism. It's not productivity. It's not shiny, still success within consensus reality, just spiritual, because you're helping people. Right? Because now you're all productive and you're all shiny and you're all abundant and you can afford new things and your money just doing a job that's quote unquote helping the world instead of doing a job that's shitty for the world or neutral. But it's not different. Okay, so this is the thing. How do we check out but survive? First things first is we have to understand that finding our purpose and finding our passion will never fulfill us. Okay? When we are running around like chickens with our heads cut off, what's my purpose, what's my purpose, what's my purpose, what's my purpose? And I don't feel good, and I don't feel safe, and I don't feel secure, and I don't feel lovable, and I don't feel good enough. I must not be living my purpose. This must not be the right job for me. This must not be the right career. This must not be the right... And a lot of us do this in just different areas of our lives, right? Some of us, it's career and purpose. Some of us, we say, it's because my body isn't right. I'm not healthy enough, I'm not fit enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not beautiful enough. And we constantly, whenever we feel that feeling of like anxiety, we scapegoat it onto the body. And if I could just get the ideal body, I'd feel better. Or we do it with our relationship. Either the lack of relationship or the relationship we have, right? If I could just find the partner, it's because I'm alone that I feel like this. If I could just find the one, if I could just find my soulmate, if I could just find my soulmates, if I could just find my community, all of these things. I would be fulfilled. If I could just fix my relationship, if I could just make this relationship better, if I could just fulfill it. And anytime we feel like shit, we do that. Or the money thing. It's because I don't have enough money. I'm not secure. I don't have enough. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough security. I don't have enough abundance. I'm not. We all have our area that we scapegoat. Whenever we feel insecure, whenever we feel not enough, whenever we feel afraid, we say, okay, if I could just create this and make it perfect, I would be okay. And we have to understand that, like, I'm not saying, okay, this is not black and white. Forget about all that stuff on the surface. Find spiritual fulfillment from within, no matter what your circumstances are. I would never say that. Because I believe that, like, when you don't have enough food, when you don't have a place to live, when you don't have a relative level of security, you're going to suffer. Because you're a biological organism that wants to survive, that wants to live. Okay, like we can't override our biology. So there's going to be a level of suffering, pain, when we don't have our physical needs met. And that's normal, and we're not going to transcend that because we don't want to transcend that. Remember, pain alerts us to where we are not getting our needs met. If all that pain went away when we're not getting our needs met, we would die and not realize we were dying. Okay, so we have to we have to get out of our spiritual black and white thinking and saying that you can be completely transcendently perfectly happy with no food and no water and no friends and just living on prana. Because you're a biological organism, that's gonna hurt. Can we get to a place where we accept the plight of that and decide we're just gonna go with it and have a transcended kind of stress response experience? I guess. I think we've heard a lot of people say that, like that divine acceptance when we're there, the situation we're in is just kind of hopeless and we can't make it better for ourselves and there's nothing we can do, and there's that kind of divine surrender when we realize we're trapped. I believe we can have that. And I also believe that as we're working our way through life, we can find moments of that within our struggle. We can find, like, we've done everything we can possibly do and we're still suffering and it's still hard. And we can find these spiritual techniques and these self-love techniques and these inner safety techniques where we just say, okay, like, I hear you, I get it. If there's more I can do, I will do. I wish I could do more for you, but this is it right now. And we find that acceptance for what we're in. And that's part of it, because we all have that. Like, I have had that many, many times where I've done all I can do about my body. I'm still sick. I'm still whatever. I'm still in pain, but hey, I'm still alive. I've done all I can do. So now how do I just enjoy what I have? How do I keep going from what I have? This isn't ideal. This isn't perfect, but it is what it is. And like I say, when and if there's another thing I can do, I will do it. I'm always going to fight for myself. I'm always going to advocate for myself. I'm always going to go for what I can do to support myself. But when I've reached the end of my list of things I can do, then I go inside and I love myself and I find what's good about what is, and I process the fact that I just can't find something good about it right now. And you see? So there is an element of that. There is an element of that inner cultivation of, okay, I've done what I can do. I'm doing what I can do. This is not the ideal situation, but it is what it is, and I can't make it different right now. And there is still doing what we can do, step by step by step by step, from our own lives and our own vantage points and where we are, to check out as much as we can and to make a new system as much as we can. So like I say, for most people watching this, for most people who watch my content, what can you do? For most of us, it comes down to realizing where we are over-consuming and overproducing, where we are forcing ourselves to work when we don't need to work, forcing ourselves to be productive where we don't need to be productive, forcing ourselves to be a part of this system that constantly tells us that where we are and what we are is not enough, right? Like, again, it is different for everyone, so I'm not going to say, like, this is what enough looks like. But from our vantage points, we need to look at, like, what do I actually need? What is my actual, like, these are the things that I need. And it doesn't have to be, like, bare bones either. Remember, like, I'm not saying enough and, like, just barely scraping by and that's enough, and then don't try and expect anything more from life. Like, I believe we are meant to enjoy life. I believe we can have fun and access in the sense of comforts and enjoyment and pleasure, right? There is enough on this planet, 100%, for all of us to have a comfortable existence, a reasonable existence, where we work some, we rest some, we play some, and we live as a human. This is what we want to start to understand for ourselves. Where is my enough so that I can live holistically, right? Because this is the other thing. When we highly prioritize purpose and vocation, what usually happens? What do we have to sacrifice in order to make that happen? Our health, our relationships, time off, inner cultivation, interests, hobbies. Everything becomes about, how does this fit into my career? Like, I've even seen people, like, legitimately, like, monetize their relationships, monetize their health, monetize their hobbies. Everything that they do fits in still to the influencer, this is who I am, this is my life, it all fits into this theme, right? I know that's rare, that's not everyone, but, like, a lot of us are just forgetting that life isn't supposed to be about work. Life isn't supposed to be about work. Career, fulfillment in your career, passion in your career, that's all great. But it will never fulfill you, because that's not life. Your career is one part of life. What you do for money, what you do for service to the community, what you do in the world is a part of your existence. And if we make that everything, when we put all of our eggs in that basket, we make our lives miserable. Because we are a whole human being boiling ourselves down to one thing. So I don't even care how aligned you are in your career. I don't care how on purpose you are. I don't care how much you found your niche thing and you're doing it perfectly. If that's all you have in your life, yes, you will destroy yourself. It's an addiction. Because what is an addiction? An addiction is, I have this need, I have this pain, I have this whatever, and I don't know how to meet the need, and I don't know how to actually address the pain, I don't know what to actually do, so I continue to return to a substance or a behavior that kind of gets the needs met, that helps me not feel the thing for a little while, that sort of scratches the itch, but doesn't fully, completely do it. And so I have to keep going back and back and back and back and back, because it gives me that little bit of relief, that little bit of something, where if I go without the addictive substance or the addictive habit, I have nothing. I have no way of meeting the need or I have just the pain I can't do anything about. Right? So what's the solution? We have to figure out what the actual need is, we have to figure out where the pain is, and we have to address those actual things. We have to get the need actually met. And we have to address the pain that's underneath. So it's the same thing when we're putting all of our hopes on our career, or all of our hopes on our body, or all of our hopes on any area of our life. We have to recognize that every time we're in pain and we just go to that one thing and we micro-focus in and we just say, if this will be perfect, I would have the life I want, I will be out of pain forever. We have to say, nope, that's an oversimplification to try to make myself feel like I have power. Will then need that needs to be met be different for everyone? Absolutely. Right? Like, that's why I keep things general, because you need to figure out for yourself on your path what your enough life looks like and how you can take steps towards that, because there's no blueprint for it. I can't give you a step-by-step program, because we're all starting from radically different places. We all have radically different needs. We all have radically different circumstances, radically different what enough is for you. So there's no generalizing, this is what it's going to look like when you get there, or this is what you do to get there, other than, slowly accessing your own, okay, pain, pleasure, what works for me, what works for, so maybe people like Bezos find comfort in their money like hoarders. It's hard to take something from a hoarder. But again, right? Why? He's a product of the system. He was trained to be that way, probably from birth. It's conditioning. It's societal conditioning. Our society is built on programs that don't work for the human being, but we don't see it. Especially the people who are born into the top of the system, sometimes I feel like they have it worse. They're more indoctrinated than the people at the bottom for whom the system isn't working. It's so much harder to convince someone that a system isn't working when they get all the privileges and all the abundance from that system than it is to convince someone who's being destroyed by the system that the system doesn't work. So who is more brainwashed? The people at the bottom, where the system is constantly fucking them over? Where they can see, this doesn't work. This isn't working. I can fight as hard as I want. I can do as much as I want. I can follow all the rules. And I'm still not going to have success. I'm still not going to win. The system is fucked. Who's going to be able to see that faster? That person? Or the person at the top who has all the privilege and all the access and all the money and all the resources, and it looks like they're winning. And it looks like if they let their money go a little bit, if they let their power go a little bit, what's going to happen? Society's going to destroy them. People are going to come for their money. People are going to attack them. People are going to kill them. Right? Like, you're born into this situation where you have all this wealth, and then it's like baked into you that the world wants to destroy you. They want to take it from you, and you better hoard and you better protect yourself. And then we wonder, why are they like that? Well, think about what their lives were like growing up. Think about the things that they learned. Think about what their culture would have been like. Of course, they're seemingly sociopathic now. Their empathy was literally baked out of them in order to stay there, in order to believe in order to live the life that they were living, they were born into, that they were culturally indoctrinated into. They have to be afraid. And they're living from that fear. The world wants what you have, and they're going to come and take it from you, and they want to destroy you along the way. Like, right? Like, Jeff Bezos goes on the internet every day and sees, like, we want to eat billionaires. And then we wonder why he continues to hoard and is afraid. Like, if you were a person and you went on the internet and you just saw a bunch of people saying they want to, like, kill you, don't you think that would kind of reinforce I'm not safe to let my wealth go? Like, again, I'm not saying that we should have compassion for Jeff Bezos, but I'm saying I think we can reasonably understand how someone might have gotten there. And it's not because they're a sociopath. It's because our system is sociopathic. And they were raised in it. We were all raised in it. We're all running around like chickens with our heads cut off, feeding this system that doesn't work for anybody. And the people at the top are keeping it going because they're horrified of letting it go. Because of course they are. Because there's a whole bunch of people at the bottom who are really angry with them for good reason, who want this to be destroyed, who want to burn it to the ground. And they want to burn everyone associated with it to the ground for good reason. But those people are still people. They're not going to just let that go. They're not going to be like, yeah, okay, I'll be the sacrificial lamb for this horrible system. So they fight for it, right? Like, we can see people are selfish. Everyone, everywhere is selfish. We all want it to be better for ourselves. We're all fighting for it to be better for ourselves. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But you see what I'm trying to say here? My point is, we need to stop looking for what's wrong with the people. We have to stop looking for what's wrong with ourselves and stop looking for what's wrong with the people at the top of the system. We have to stop looking for the people, what's wrong. Oh, sorry, one second. Hello? 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 Anyways, sorry about that. We have to stop blaming the people. And we have to start looking at the system. We have to start looking at the systems. We have to start looking at where can we start to check out of the system. Not blame the people. Not get caught up in the details of what the people are doing. But how can we start to get into where can we check out? So someone's saying, I've never felt so lost. The more I know, the more I don't know. So confused now. But one thing I know for sure is that I don't want to live in a box anymore like a robot. Exactly. And that is a great point. And I will say that is, congratulations, that's the first step. Stepping into the unknown, right? Because again, like, you're asking me, like, what do I do? Well, what's the next step? The first step is to just start to take stock and realize, right? Like, there's that, yes, exactly. This is normal, and this is like a critical phase. Don't try to rush through the I'm confused and I don't know what to do and I'm scared and hopeless because I don't, right? When our reality is crumbling, when what we have been conditioned to believe is the thing forever, for our whole lives, starts to come into question, we don't have answers come in right away. What happens is we get lost. There's the wilderness. There's the emptiness. There's the void. Okay? This is what we have to understand. Don't push through this phase. The unraveling phase, it's all coming apart at the seams and I don't know what the answer is, and that is important. It is so, so important to allow ourselves We must allow ourselves to go through the unknown. We must allow ourselves to experience the emptying out of the closet. The answers will come. The clarity will come. The next step, the one thing to do, will happen. I promise. But we have to let the unraveling happen. Right? The caterpillar inside the cocoon completely melts down before it starts to grow into the butterfly. You have to allow for that. If we can't allow for that, if we try to push forward and have answers and do figure out what we're supposed to do and figure out what the right thing is before we're ready, we're just going to go back to what we've always known. We're just going to go back to what we've always done. The absolute key to this is that we allow for that unknowing. So you ask me, what do? Let it fall apart. Let yourself question. The first step is really let the existential crisis happen. Journal, talk about it, process, cry, be confused, learn to be in those emotions. Feel those feelings. Does this make sense? You're going to go back to doing what you were doing before many, many times. Okay, so I just had a question. How do we make sure that we don't instantly go back to what we were doing before? You're going to. All of us do it. You're going to go revelation, backwards a little bit. Revelation, backwards a little bit. Revelation, backwards a little bit. You just have to have compassion for yourself. Okay? Don't make anything wrong. Understand this is a journey of steps. There's never going to be a perfect. You're never going to perfectly figure it out. You're never going to do it perfect. And in order to learn what works and what doesn't and what's right and what isn't, you have to try it and then untry it and then try it a little bit different and then try something else and then try it again a little bit different and thinking it's different and you're going to trick yourself into thinking it's different and all these things. That's normal. Be open to the process. Be open to your process. Try it. See how it goes. Right? Everyone asks me, should I try this? Should I do this? Is this the right thing? Only you can know that. And only you can know by trying. You're not going to know before you try. Try. See what happens. Witness. Learn from your experiences. There is no perfection. You're not going to know before you go. Okay? But hopefully, you now have some sparks of things to look for. Where is my enough? Do I really need to do this? I feel a lot of shame when I try and it doesn't work. I know. But like, holy smokes. Everyone asks me how I got from where I was to where I am. I made a million mistakes. I just tried a whole bunch of things. 99% of them didn't work. And that's how I figured out what to do. There is nothing more liberating than trying something and it doesn't work and you get to eliminate an option. Really. I adopted an attitude of there is no such thing as failure. Failure is when you try something and you don't learn from it. If you try something and it doesn't work, good. What did you learn? Like, really? What did you learn? What did it teach you? Can you have so much compassion for yourself that when you make a mistake, you don't see it as a mistake? You see it as information. What did you learn from that experiment that will then give you information for the next step? Like, if there's anything that will change your life, it's shifting from believing you can make mistakes to everything is information that is empowering you. Everything is information that is empowering you. The mistakes are just as informative as the successes. What about that? It doesn't work? Cool. What did you learn? Now you have a little bit more information about what does work. That's it. That's all it is. Right? When we're on this path, it is so much about letting go of consensus reality and all the stories they tell us about what is success and what is failure and what is good enough and what is not enough. That's the big, big goal. That's the big thing. The life will fill itself in. When you start to understand what's actually of value in a human life. Learning, growth, expansion on all the levels of yourself. The what am I supposed to do for myself? What is the right amount of stuff? What is the right amount of things? That fills itself in. Because you're no longer pursuing this external thing to fulfill you. You're realizing life is about growth in general. And sometimes real growth doesn't look like anything to society. And so much of the time, what is valued by society is not growth. It's not of value. And so you change your values. Right? We have to start to say, what do I value? Productivity? Or do I value discovery? Do I value a life where I've lived and learned? Or do I value what was I as a cog in the wheel for the system? What did I do for money? Was I respected by lots of people? Or did I live a life that mattered to me? What matters to you? If no one was watching, what would you care about? Right? And we balance it. We balance it with the world that we live in. Because of course, all of us can't just quit our jobs and paint because that's what's valuable to us. But you can paint more. You can make some time for it. You can make some room. Take steps. Continue to ask yourself, what do I actually value? Not what's my purpose? What am I supposed to do in the world? What's the right thing? What do I actually value? And if the answer is I don't know, good. Sit in that. Be in the unknown. Be in the confusion. Okay? Let's do that. Be with yourself, one step at a time. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Do you have a place for a simple donation? I have a PayPal, unitycoaching@gmail.com. If you enjoy these lives, that's very nice. Thank you. But, okay? What is your enough? What do you actually value? Slow steps towards it. Let it be confusing. It's okay. You will figure it out. Try. Just try. All right. That's that. I love you all. You're all enough. You are more than what you do for the world. Your life is more than that. Let yourself be bigger than that. Okay? Have a fabulous week, and I'll see you next week.